Hi, welcome to Real Beer Revolution. My name is Mike, and today we're at Drifter Brewing Company in Woodstock, brewing the Stranded Coconut. Okay, so here we have the grain bill for a 23-litre batch of the Stranded Coconut. We have 3.5 kilograms of pale malt, 500 grams of Carahel, 500 grams of Vienna malt, and 200 grams of Carapils. And here we are at the start of doughing in, and I start off quite slowly, mixing in about a cup of the grain at a time, giving it a good stir, making sure that all those grains are coated in the water, and ensuring that we don't get any dough balls that will lessen our efficiency. So I had a bit of a helping hand here from Jake at Drifter. So Jake was helping me pour in the grain while I doughed in, just sped things along a little bit. And then towards the end of doughing in, you can see it starts to get much more difficult to dough in. There's a lot more grain to water ratio there, so you want to move your mash paddle around, making sure that you're getting all that grain wet and making sure that there's no dough balls. So different types of mash paddle movements are necessary here. Okay, so once it's all doughed in, you want to put the top mash plate on, and I push it down to the grain bed and then just give it a small lift back up again. Then we pop on the lid, pop on the recirculation arm, and we start on mashing in. So the mash schedule for this one is a mash in at 60 degrees C for 40 minutes, then raise to 68 degrees C for 25 minutes, raise to 74 degrees C for 15 minutes, and mash out at 78 degrees C for 10 minutes. So while that was mashing in, we got to try the beer straight from the fermenters. There really is something special about the taste of the beer when it comes straight out. It's about as fresh as you're going to get it. I found it quite reminiscent to tasting beers in the UK when they were cask conditioned. We're having a chat with Nick. All brewers get quite fascinated when there's a new toy in their brewery. So just having a good chat with Nick about the Grainfather and the Connect controller and how the app works on the phone. And then we're just checking the clarity there of the water coming through. Okay, so mash out is finished. We remove the recirculation arm, and then we want to lift the mash tun out from the kettle. And all that water will start to drip, back down into the kettle. And then we're going to sparge. So we take a litre of water at a time and slowly pour it over the top of the mash plate in the mash tun there. One of the things I really like about the Grainfather is the sparge calculator. So as you go, you can just press the button and you know that you've added 1 litre and it adds it up for you. So we don't make any mistakes on the sparge. So you can see there, we're just pouring in the water nice and slowly and evenly over the top of that mash plate, making sure that we don't go too high with the water level, and this will really help your efficiencies towards the end. Okay, so with that done, we've removed the mash tun and we've brought the water up to the boil. So you can see it was coming to the boil there. And I'm just stirring in that foam on the top there. That's protein, so you want to stir that back into the wort. So now it's all been stirred back in. We're going to add our first hop addition, a 60-minute addition of 5.5 grams of Southern Promise, local South African hop. I'm going to give them a really nice stir in. And we're going to give the bottom of the kettle a quick scrape with the mash paddle, just to make sure there's no build-up. Okay, so while that's boiling away, we're going to have an opportunity to chat to Nick about the stranded coconut. Hi, so we're here with Nick from Drifter, owner and brewer, yeah? And you guys have been going now for, what, 3 years? Just over 3 years?
Yeah, just over 3 years. We officially got the premises in November 2014.
Awesome.
And at the time we were busy building here at the brewery, so we kicked off with contract brewing our Cape Town Blonde down the road at Woodstock Brewery with the guys there.
Yep.
Did an amazing job with us in the beginning. And that helped us enter the market once our brewery was already established and running the premises.
Okay, so the inspiration behind Drifter, tell me the story behind
Cool,
into brewing.
good question. So I started brewing in the States over in Oregon, and sort of fell in love with the beer scene there and the culture. It's pretty much the beer capital of the world these days, over 110 breweries just in one city.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. And so yeah, we decided let's go back home to Cape Town and see what's happening with the beer scene here. We arrived back early 2014, and a couple more breweries had popped up. We decided to start up Drifter. The name Drifter comes from actually a sailing vessel that my father built back about 45 years ago. So he was working up in Namibia as a diamond diver at the time. So he would come home on weekends and every 2 weeks, once he's made some money, work on the boat and then go back up, make some more money. So it took him 5 years to complete the project. They then popped the yacht in the water and it floated. And then him and my mother jumped on board and they sailed around the world for about 10 years. So it was that sort of adventurous spirit we wanted to bring into the brand and everything we're about.
Awesome, awesome. And today we're brewing the homebrew version of the stranded coconuts, yeah? So, cheers.
Cheers, cheers.
Awesome, and it's quite innovative, to use coconut in a beer. I don't know many other breweries that are doing that in South Africa.
Yeah, even in the world. So a lot of guys use coconut, but it's usually for like a stout or a porter. It pairs well with very dark beers.
Yes.
So what's unique about ours is obviously we pair it with a light session beer, and that took a lot of recipe development. Took us about a year to figure out how to get rid of the oils so that we could actually work with coconut in the beer.
And you do that by roasting it?
Yeah, we're roasting it, toasting it. Then we have a system whereby we take the oil out, and we add it during the whirlpool and 10 minutes before the end. So it's all fresh toasted coconut.
It does. You get a huge hit of fresh coconut on the nose, but also it comes through very nicely in the taste. I mean,
yeah, it's a very unique beer. It's great for hot weather.
Yeah.
And
there's not really much hops in there interfering with the flavour. It is, as it says, all about the coconut.
Yeah, the coconut.
And that's not the only sort of innovative thing that you guys are doing, eh?
Yeah, so we like to, like I said, we're all about adventure and creativity. We like to play around with different recipes. There's an idea that sparks in myself or one of our brewers' minds. We usually pursue it. So we've recently just launched our Under the Water beer. It's an ocean aged triple.
Yes.
That's aged underwater for 13 months.
Yeah.
That turned out really well. Delicious beer. We also just recently launched our water restriction Goza.
Yeah.
So we brew that beer with a percentage of Atlantic Ocean water.
Wow.
So we get to save a bit of water while we do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, loads of other exciting, crazy beers. Every 2 months we do a collaboration with another brewery and we launch that. We do a lot of stuff with Zwakala Brewery up north in Limpopo, which is an incredible place, an incredible brewery. So a lot of fun stuff on the cards.
Cool. So that ocean aged beer you're actually brewing today while we're brewing the small batch.
Exactly. So the next batch of the ocean aged beer was getting brewed today. Yeah. Very exciting.
We'll have a look at that later on and see how it's made. And,
we can definitely have a taste as well.
But it's a big beer, eh? It's
a big beer. 10.5% is the aim.
Okay.
So we'll see how it turns out.
How long does that age for?
So that'll go into bottles after a month. in the tank, and then those will go underwater.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having us, Nick. Appreciate you giving
Cheers,
us a
man.
chance to
Always a
brew
good.
this beer and put the recipe out there, and hopefully some home brewers will take on board and
Great.
we'll see this being brewed around the world as
Give
well.
it a try, and yeah, it's not a difficult recipe as long as you follow the guidelines, and it's delicious.
Cool. We got a kettle boiling away there, so let's go and check it out.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks.
So here's that Belgium triple that Nick was talking about, the ocean aged beer. It's all quite busy in the brewery. It's an exciting brew day for this one, such a big beer. And there it is coming to the boil. And they're just controlling the boil there with some water, making sure we don't get a boil over. The smells coming out of that were amazing. Okay, so back to the Grainfather, back to the stranded coconut. I'm going to do our second hop addition, which is 6.5 grams of Southern Star, and that's a 30-minute addition. Just sprinkle them all over the kettle there, and give them a really nice stir in. Give the bottom of the kettle a nice scrape again with the mash paddle. Okay, I'm just going to add some yeast nutrient into the boil and a bit of our water chemistry addition. And also some Irish moss went in there at that stage. Okay, so on this one I'm using the hop spider, but I'm going to use it for something completely different. We're going to put some coconut in there. So with 10 minutes to go, we add 260 grams of toasted coconut. That coconut was toasted in the oven and then laid out on some brown paper or cardboard box or some newspaper just to absorb that oil that comes out of there. You don't want that oil going into the beer because it's going to affect your head retention. So with 5 minutes to go, our final hop addition is 6.5 grams of Southern Star. I decided not to add that into the hop spider, added it into the kettle side instead. Give it a good stir in there, and you want to give the coconut a nice stir around in the hop spider. I used the hop spider just to prevent any blockages in the pump. That probably wasn't necessary. Most of the coconut tended to float to the top anyway. I just didn't want to risk it, having not tried it before, but it was fine. So at the end there, I just took hop spider out, let all the water drain back into the kettle, and then we're going to add our Whirlpool addition of coconut, which is 260 grams again of toasted coconut, and that gets a 10-minute hop stand. So I was playing with my new toy here, which is the Grainfather Whirlpool attachment for the drill, and I used a corded drill, not a cordless drill, and it was way too powerful. I couldn't control the speed on it. It was quite messy. So having gone and found a cordless drill, I tried again, and you need the drill with the speed control for this Whirlpool attachment. You don't want to be making a mess like I did the first time. So there we go, controlling the speed very nicely, creates a really nice whirlpool. Okay, so coming to the end of the whirlpool now. We did a 5-minute whirlpool, and then we're going to do a 10-minute stand. So I've been struggling quite a bit lately to cool down my wort. The water temperature in Cape Town is quite warm in the summer, and I just wasn't getting much below about 25 degrees C. So we used this plate chiller that Drifter had, in the hope that it might cool it down more, but it did not actually. The Grainfather counterflow chiller was more efficient than this. This one got me down to about 30 degrees C. The Grainfather one got me down to about 25. So we transferred anyway to the fermenter, did a closed transfer there, and then we put the fermenter in a fridge to cool down to pitching temperature. So once it had cooled down, we used the sanitized aerator to aerate the wort, and I must say this works very well. So I did that for 5 minutes, and then we went ahead and pitched our yeast. You can use White Labs California Ale yeast for this, or you can use Safale US05. We used the in-house yeast that Drifter used. We cropped it from their fermentation tanks, and we pitched the slurry basically into our fermenter. Once you pitch that, gave it a quick spray with some sanitizer, and popped the lid on and put it into our fermentation freezer. So there you have it. That is the full recipe for Drifter's Stranded Coconut. Thank you very much to Nick and the team for sharing this with us. It's an amazing beer, so I hope you go ahead and try this recipe, and if you do, please share the results with us on social media. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please go ahead and give us a like on YouTube. It really helps us out. And give us a follow, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for watching.